Now, here's something wild that most people either missed or are just too scared to talk about. What if Meghan Markle never gave birth to her children at all? Seriously, think about it for a second. This isn't just some shady internet gossip. Her own father has gone on record saying Meghan had frozen her eggs years ago, and her brother supposedly claimed she had a hysterectomy after that. And get this, all of this allegedly happened while she was still married to Trevor Ingleson, long before Prince Harry was even in the picture. If true, that flips the entire fairy tale family story upside down. The deeper you look, the messier it gets. It's not just about the idea of frozen eggs. The real twist is the claim that Meghan couldn't actually afford to keep them stored for the long haul. Apparently, keeping those eggs preserved runs anywhere from $8,000 to $9,000 a month. And according to rumors, Meghan definitely didn't have that kind of money back then. We're talking about someone who insiders say earned around $7,000 per episode on Suits. And she wasn't in every episode either. When you add up her screen time across 1 and 8 episodes, she only appeared for about 188 minutes. That's barely enough for anyone to even notice she was there. So now imagine this. She supposedly loses access to the eggs because she can't afford the storage, then has a hysterectomy, and yet years later she shows up with 2 kids, claiming they're hers. You can see why people are raising their eyebrows. And this isn't just random speculation. People have been analyzing every detail of Meghan's motherhood story like detectives on a cold case. There's almost no genuine footage or photos of her being openly affectionate with her children. None of those classic mom moments like hugs, messy snacks, or simple playtime. Instead, in every public appearance, the kids seem awkward and staged, almost like props in a photo shoot instead of real family. Some have even pointed out that the little girl seen at Disneyland one day isn't the same child seen the next day in a different outfit. Are different children being used in public appearances? Then there's the infamous moon bump clip. Meghan strolling around with what many online claim is an obviously fake pregnancy belly during the middle of the pandemic in a hospital. That's not just odd, it's possibly a legal issue. Hospital policies during COVID were strict, especially in maternity wards. You couldn't just waltz in for photos, let alone bring in camera crews and stage content. Now put all of this next to her interview style and public appearances. Every time her kids come up, Meghan seems distant, like there's no genuine warmth or maternal instinct. Her answers are flat, sometimes strangely robotic or overly performative, like she's reciting lines in a play rather than speaking from the heart. It feels like she's checking boxes on how to act like a mother without the real connection, and people are starting to notice. It's not hate, it's observation. There's just something that doesn't add up, and it's not just random internet sleuths saying it. Even her own dad pointed it out. That's what's so wild about this entire situation. This isn't some anonymous online troll talking trash. It's Meghan's own dad dropping what he says are the receipts. He claimed, flat out, that she had her eggs removed and frozen, end of story. Then her brother backed him up, adding the alleged bombshell that Meghan had a hysterectomy after that. That's not idle gossip, that's a shockwave if it's true, because it blows apart the whole narrative of Meghan's biological motherhood. And what's even more unbelievable is that nobody in the mainstream media is asking any hard questions. They just sweep it under the rug, pretending like nothing ever happened. So you really have to wonder, if Meghan truly couldn't have children, where did Archie and Lilibet actually come from? Why does it feel like the palace, the press, and even the public are all walking on eggshells around the biggest, most explosive question in modern royal history? What really throws people off is the way Meghan and Harry play the perfect parents on camera, all while dodging real transparency. Every time their children come up, their answers are either way too polished or suspiciously vague. No raw birth photos, no authentic family moments, just a carefully curated feed that looks more like a branding campaign than genuine family life. And then there's the missing details. No hospital confirmation, no nurses or doctors speaking out, not even a single blurry paparazzi snap of Meghan actually pregnant in public. Almost impossible for such a high-profile couple. Let's not forget the infamous moon bump theories. There's footage floating around where Meghan's belly seems to shift and fold in unnatural ways when she squats down. Not just a weird camera angle, but straight-up prop department fail. Weird. People online have zoomed in, slowed it down, analyzed it frame by frame, and what they see isn't a baby bump. It's what looks like foam padding. Now, if Meghan had used a surrogate and simply didn't want to talk about it, that's one thing. But if there's actual deception, then it's not about privacy, it's about authenticity and public trust. Then you've got the oddities with the kids' birth certificates. Reports claimed Meghan had her royal title taken off the paperwork, then put back on again. That's definitely not how it's usually done. In the US, royal titles aren't supposed to appear as legal names at all, yet somehow Archie and Lilibet's paperwork slipped through with royal titles included. Insiders say even immigration officials were baffled, supposedly reaching out to King Charles himself for clarification. That doesn't happen unless something is seriously off. And let's not pretend Harry's just standing by. He's right there, playing along, smiling for the cameras, and even pushing for HRH titles for the kids, which reportedly sparked chaos behind closed doors. The Queen herself, before her passing, had apparently made it clear no HRH titles for those stepping away from royal duties. But here comes Harry, pushing those titles through anyway, and according to multiple insiders, Charles gave in. The man who was supposed to protect the monarchy's reputation just handed out royal titles like party favors. But let's back up for a moment. Why would Meghan go to such extreme lengths in the first place? Some people say it's all about boosting her brand value. Others believe it's about carving out her own place in history. But there's one theory that stands out above the rest. Meghan believed having royal children would guarantee her influence inside the monarchy forever. It's not just about a name, it's about power and leverage. 2 children, born into the firm and handed HRH titles, that's not just a status symbol, that's permanent PR ammo. Whether Meghan gave birth or not almost doesn't matter if the public buys into the fairy tale. But the cracks in the story are getting bigger every day. Meghan's behavior around the kids is always a little off. In one video, she's holding a child in the most awkward way, as if she's never handled a toddler before. No eye contact, no soothing touches, just stiff and uncomfortable. And the kids, they always look like they're being managed by staff, not a loving parent. There's always a handler nearby and a sense that every moment is staged for the cameras. People aren't blind, they spot the weird body language, the lack of genuine emotion, and the constant inconsistencies. The question keeps getting louder. If these kids aren't biologically hers, and if the palace knows it, why is everyone acting like nothing's out of the ordinary? Is it fear, shame, or something much deeper that nobody has figured out yet? Meghan's defenders always roll out the same argument, she's just private, but there's a big difference between genuine privacy and a scheme that looks like you faked an entire pregnancy, used stand-in children, and maneuvered your way into royal privileges. At some point, it's not about personal boundaries, it's about misleading the world, especially when you're still using those royal titles, still appearing on the monarchy's official website, and still cashing in on the Duchess brand at every opportunity. Then there's the timing. Meghan's viral twerking video blew up online right when fresh questions about the children started making the rounds, almost like it was all a distraction. Make a scene, stir up drama, and pull focus away from the real questions. Who are these children really? If Meghan's truly their mother, why not just set the record straight once and for all? Instead, it feels like the strategy is to keep flooding the media with new headlines, new controversies, and new outrage. Anything to keep people from zeroing in on the core issue. But what Meghan seems to be missing is that this kind of constant chaos doesn't build a legacy. It destroys it. She might love the Kardashian comparisons, but that playbook doesn't work here. Kim and Paris were never claiming royal legitimacy, and they never put their children in the middle of a public relations war. This is a whole different level. Meghan is, well, you can fill in the blank. But now, more than ever, the world's eyes are turning to Harry. Because, in the end, this isn't just Meghan's game, Harry is right there in the thick of it. He's not some clueless bystander. He's actively building this narrative every step of the way. This is the same man who once claimed to despise the press, yet now he seems obsessed with shaping their image. He's dialing up the paparazzi when it suits their agenda, then firing off lawsuits when it doesn't. The hypocrisy is impossible to ignore. And the royal family? Total silence. No statements, no public denials or clarifications, just an awkward, tense acceptance like they're hoping it all goes away if they don't acknowledge it. But silence isn't just sitting on the fence, it's complicity, especially when the image of the entire monarchy is being dragged through the dirt by 2 people who gave up the duties but cling to the perks. Meghan still signs everything, Duchess of Sussex. Harry still expects royal treatment everywhere he goes, especially on big international tours. And the palace? They're still hosting their bios on the official royal website. No accountability, no boundaries, no real line being drawn. Every time Meghan drops another staged photo with one of the kids, or Harry makes another passionate speech about protecting his family, it's like a slap in the face to anyone who actually cares about truth and transparency. Because at this point, it's not about the Sussexes as individuals, it's about the institution they represent, and the trust they've hijacked.